been waiting for you. I'm Taren S, and this is the House of Witchcraft. We're a Crossroads Witchcraft Tradition, embracing the balance of both the dark and the light. Would you like to brew a little magic with me? Well, come on in then. Let's brew some. Hello, hello. So happy to see everyone. Of course, y'all can tell it's a slightly new, different video in the office with Taren. This is my office workspace. Here is some of my books as well. And this video is a revisit of a video that I made 2 years ago when I first started this channel. And I was still learning about everything. And one of the things I was also still learning was my own words, all right? And I went back and watched the video and I was like, ooh, just a little dated, but good information. So I wanted to sort of revisit, revise, regurgitate this video on how to join a witch's coven. First, let me say, if you are a new witch leaning in, welcome home, welcome home. We're so happy to see you. There is a place for you in our community. And taking those first couple of steps into, I want to be part of a coven. First is, you need to answer some really deep questions on why do you want to be part of a coven? What is that your expectations reality? All right? Working with a group of people with different opinions, different schedules, and sometimes inconveniences. All right? That's a little bit of the downside. There's, of course, all sorts of amazing upside. We're able to inspire, empower, and encourage each other. All right? You're a new witch, and you're like, I want to join a coven. All right? You have some amazing options. Not only do you have physical in your neighborhood to go to the metaphysical stores, start getting up into local social media groups, meet and greet. You got to put yourself out there. And we also have virtual room groups, all right? And I want to talk a little bit about this because I know there are folks out there like, nah. As somebody been around for a while, for those returning, y'all know it's sometime around 40 years I've been in this community. I have been a solitaire. I've been part of a coven and both physical realm and in virtual realm. So I'm going to tell you what I experience, all right? Being part of a physical group is amazing. If you get the opportunity with the right people, do it. Being part of a virtual group is amazing. If you get the right people, the right group, do it, all right? I've had the privilege of being part of a virtual group here through the House of Witchcraft for a year now. And yes, we do connect. Yes, we are there for each other. We have a little private chat and it's a lot of fun. All right. So don't think that because it's in virtual, it's not real. All right. We know what real and authentic are. Real and authentic are things that make sense to me and it works. That makes it authentic. All right. Now, let's talk about some of these different groups. You will find that there are what we have within the magical community. We have lineage groups. They have generational knowledge, traditions, way of doing things. All right. And then we have independent covens, okay, in which is led by somebody hopefully with good balance and knowledge. All right. And you know, that group may have hive office, maybe the first generation of a lineage group. And then we also have study groups, book clubs, informal get-togethers where folks are coming together under a full moon doing it. There is no real sense of lineage, sense of tradition, formality, all right? And depending on your situation as to what group, what's available to you. Now, when it comes to some of our lineage groups, when we get into the pagan world, we're looking at some of the Wiccan, Garnerian folks are looking, 50 years. They're on their third generation with people. When you get into your folk magic, your conjuring, your hoodoo, all these realms, you're looking at generational lineage knowledge that potentially is, 100, 200 years old. It's like my line is documented for 124 years at this point. All right. Does that make it any more real? No, it's just understanding these different groups and their flavors. All right. I would say the cautionary one is our independent groups, where somebody decided that they are a high priest, a high priestess, a mama, a papa, a Hugon, whatever title they're using, because they read a book and now they have a fancy website and they're bringing people in. When you are checking a group out, is it part of the community? Who are these people? All right. Where did they come from? This high priest, high priestess, mama, papa, Hugon. Where did they come from? What is their story, is what I'm saying. Don't just because somebody's walked up and be like, I'm a high priestess. Believe it, all right? We all have resumes. We all have credentials behind us. There should be somebody who knows, all right? I know personally, I got stories from folks that, 30 years ago when we were young and dumb, and we have remember when stories. We've grown up in the community together. So if you ask me about somebody, I'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I know this person, or I've heard of this person. Somehow somebody should have. Now, understanding, again, when we talk about groups, when you get into the pagan community, all right, versus the folk magic community, all right, their groups typically do run quite differently. Within our pagan, our Wiccan groups, they typically have a hierarchy of types where, they go through third degrees. Some of them do like this really horrible, in 3 years, you're a High Priestess program. Yes, I am throwing shade. All right. Nobody is ready in 3 years to take on the magical, spiritual guidance of a group of people. I don't care who you are. All right. It takes us years to hone our skills. And we do it first by working with a group, working with somebody, working with the mama, papa, high priestess, Hugon for many years before we come out and stand center. And we do it in a very positive, balanced way that is of benefit to the people around us. All right. And so we do a little careful with some of our pagan Wiccan groups. All right. There's a lot that are amazing groups. On the flip side, I want to say they got some good stuff, if that's what you're up into. And they have different flavors, all right? That's where you'll get into the, Celtic witch, kitchen witch, garden witch. They have all those different things you can do. Now, folk magic group of people, when they get together, they typically are working on an egalitarian basis, all right? Real fancy word. What it means is everybody gets a vote. We all come to the group as individuals first, all right? We're all equal. We do stand center, a high priest, a high priestess, a mama, a papa, a Hugon, but that's because we've recognized that person's energy. It's not because it was a title that somebody gave them, all right? And these groups, they do have elders, advisors. Like I said, there is going to be a high priestess, high priest type person there, but they're there more to sort of, like, I like to say corral cats, because that's what I feel like I'm doing some days, is herding cats. You're just gently trying to keep the group on schedule is what you're doing, all right? And so some of those groups do have like a degree or advancement system, but you will find when you're in the folk magic area that, they, like I was saying earlier, years, all right, that you're expected to have an apprentice. You will be an apprentice. You may have a mentor. If you are in the Hoodoo realms, if you are in the Hoodoo realms, you may have a godfather, a godmother, all right? This is that person that you go to and counsel and they teach you, but you still go out and have your own stuff, all right? So it's slightly different flavors. And when you say, I want to join a coven, all right, what flavor do you want? You're like, I don't know. Well, maybe you should get out in the community and go to some of these different groups that you have available to you and find out what flavor you do like. As I said earlier, we are so blessed to have these virtual spaces. And yes, they work. They're amazing. Getting into different groups and seeing how they do it and understanding where you fit in, where you feel compelled, all right? And like I said, in the first video I did on how to join a coven, I do want to go back. So I had a little book, The Secret Grandma of the Witch's Cottage, and I had put this little book together just for the cottage, not really thinking that the bigger world would be interested in what we were doing at that time. I know, right? But I really didn't think that way. So that book that I talk about in the video, all of that information was put into the Dedicant's Handbook to Coven Life. All right? And this book is a great book for trying to find out who I am, which, all right? It's that Dedicant's first year. What are the general groups going to expect of me? What should I bring? What am I about? All right? It is a great book for that. It doesn't matter what your tradition is. Okay, this is designed to find out what tradition you think you are. Okay, it's a big question. And a lot of us, you will find, you may have a season with, one tradition, or for many years you're all up in, a flavor of magic, and then you start having other doors open to you and you will shift over to another flavor of magic, all right? You're not writing it in stone for the rest of your life, witch. You can, change your mind, you can grow, you can learn more so that you want to do more type things. But the biggest deal is getting out there and doing it. You're fine just the way you are. You ain't got to change nothing. All right? I think that's the biggest thing. It's like, I'm not going to be good enough. I don't know enough. Oh, honey, we all started out on the very first step. Okay? Right where you are right now is where we all started. Okay? And I just gave you up some notes and chatted with you a little bit about it. All I can do is crack a door and tell you it's there. You got to have the courage to walk through that door, to decide that I am going to go be a part of the community and get out. And you may have to go to 3 or 4 different groups until you find the one that makes sense to you. All right? That's not uncommon. Don't come home thinking from one group that you went to on their meet and greet that I'll never do it right. No, you just found a group that you're not clicking with. That's all. Now, go out there, go to metaphysical magic stores that are local to you. All right? Ask if they have a community bulletin board. If they do, maybe you ought to be the one that puts up the little note, and ask everybody to come together for a casual coffee. Start a book club. There are so many things. I was just talking about witchy subscription boxes. You can use those. Get one each month. Use that as your monthly activity for the group. All right? But working a coven is just a group of folks taking on a journey together. All right? And they don't have any more knowledge than the solitaire does. They're not doing it any bigger and better. They're just doing it in a group. That's it. And for some of us, we really like it. And for others, solitaire is the way to go. Because I think all witches are solitaires at heart. I know personally, after I've come up from full moon, I come into my space up here and I do my own little things. I like doing my own something, you know. So if you are wanting to join the get out there and get involved in a group, look for a healthy group, look for a group that you know where they're coming from, what their history is about. All right. And don't be afraid to know that this may not be my group. You know, a lot of times I think folks, it's like it's a coven, I must join. And you get in and you're like, I really don't like these people. I really don't like the way they do these things. You know, so that's part of that year and a day. You're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. That's why we have a year and a day of a dedicant. When somebody comes up to the cottage, when somebody comes into our virtual group, you have a year and a day. All right, so that you can get to know me, you can get to know the other witches, and we get to know you to make sure that we're clicking. Because not everybody clicks. It's not personal. And so don't take it personal. All right? With that said now, of course, if you're interested in getting into a virtual group, we have the 13 Moons, a year and a day assisted. You can find out at houseofwitchcraft.com. You'll see the 13 Moons. We have all sorts of fun stuff going on. We're getting ready to start our book club. Depending on when this video is out, November 17th, 2021 is the start date for this session. All right. Of course, if you're seeing this video later, find out when our next start date is. If you're interested, join in. We also have full moons. We do virtual full moons, dark moons, feast, just whatever the group is feeling like doing, you know? All right, witch, I hope this helps you out on your journey. All right, and there's a place for you in our community, you know, but you've got to get up and go get the place. Nobody's going to bring it to you. All right, go fly those brooms, witches, and I will see you later. And of course, as always, you know, I want you to have the brightest day possible. And it never changes. It's always the same. Amen, blessed be Ashe, and A Bobo.